Lobsta Productions.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobsta,
Hello.
the father of disinformation. Before we get into today's guest, a little reminder that this is a 30-minute preview only. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we'll be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue enjoying an ad-free viewing experience, gaining access to our substantial backlog of content, and
What was
also
the laugh about? What are you laughing? What's the joke?
it's a lot of 24 episodes or something like that. That's how
Oh,
far
yeah.
we are ahead for the Patreon members. So there's a lot of stuff there that a lot of people haven't seen.
I like to
if you
say
want
that we're
more.
ahead. Yeah, it's nice to say
Yeah.
we're ahead, not behind.
That's right. Yeah, we're outpacing ourselves, which is, I mean, that's remarkable.
It just
really.
means we are dropping the ball, but that's fine.
That's all it means, guys. But you can also go there and subscribe for the $10 tier. And if you do that, you'll gain access to 2 days. That's 12 hours worth of footage of unedited raw video from Bohemian Grove, the event that will surely come back to bite us in the ass in the near future once the see what we've done. If that's interesting to you, patreon.com.
If that's interesting to you. If blood libel and retribution is interesting to you, go ahead on over to Bohemian Grove or patreon.com and check that out. David, introduce our guests. Very rude of you.
Joining us once again and pretty rapidly this time, because it turns out the last subject we spoke with them about was a lot denser than we gave credence to, and so we had to do it for a second time. It's the boys of Reality Czars, Nate and Thomas, the Paranoid American. Guys, before we get into it, let's tell everybody where they can find your work. We'll start with Nate.
All right, man. You can follow us at Reality Czars. We're anywhere and everywhere on the social medias and all that fun stuff. You can support us if you want to get real weird. If you like Weirdo Meagle stuff that me and Tom were talking about earlier, you can go to Schizo News Network /Patreon, and you can find that's where we do the real wild and fun stuff. But if you want to get into the cryptids and you're not as much of a psycho as whatever, then go follow us at Reality Czars and listen to us on Spotify and all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Before we go to Thomas, I just want to say that I know you talked to Top a little bit about it. What you guys are doing over there at Schizo News Network, that's actually dangerous for those of you who fancy yourselves
Oh,
dangerous.
thank you. I'm
people.
glad you agree, because I told him that too.
Yeah,
I feel-
this is actually dangerous content. Like,
Like,
I
I
mean, there's
don't-
people in Israel looking you up right now.
I don't want to encourage it almost. I kind of like, because I'm like, hey, very funny. Dangerous, like what you do.
Something to behold, though. Something to behold. And also, what you've done is you've put a spotlight on Sweet Amen Rat, who is one of the more talented people that just on my radar recently. You guys are doing something very scary over there.
You've also made us look like huge.
Oh yeah, dude. We look like bitches. Thanks a lot, guys. Now we have to step up our
Steven.
moon map.
Yeah.
Please.
Thomas, go ahead and plug, man. I'm sorry. Sorry we got so serious there.
Aside from all, I got paranoidamerican.com. If you want to see what my Viacom Disney military programming has sort of instilled on me and grown up with, I've just been doing my best to regurgitate it out in a way that's productive to society, as opposed to the tens of thousands I've probably led to the destruction and killing of. And speaking of, man, I feel like the next time I come on Nephilim Death Squad, you guys got to give me like that fifth punch in my card, which gets me onto the ADL website. No, isn't that how this works?
Well, you are right there. Actually, I think you've jumped the line, considering that you held down the entire merch department at Bohemian Grove. I got to apologize for not saying goodbye to you that day because we were flying by the seat of our pants to such an extent that I had to get out, run to a restaurant, and tell them, I swear to God, people are coming. Please don't shut this down. It was like a restaurant that closed at 10:30, and the event ended at 10:05 or something like that. So I never got to say goodbye. But thank you and thank Donut for holding down the fort and making the merch experience something really awesome for all the dangerous who came out to Bohemian Grove.
Well, it's a pleasure to literally profit off of pain and suffering of others, right? So that's what we like to merchandise and turn into products.
Yeah, man. And I say it to people, what you are is basically like the Toys R Us of conspiracy. So you make all of the things that all of the people that absorb conspiracy content, number one, wish they could make, and number two, wish they had access to. You're making it all, and you're doing an awesome job. So
I appreciate it. One of my longest all-time friends, Dr. Narco Longo, said that I was the truth movement.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, I suppose. Shout out Dr. Narco Longo.
Like this
he was gonna come there,
crazy.
but he said that there was somebody that he just didn't want to bump into anybody or something like that. I don't know what it was. Oh yeah, I actually have mine right here as well.
Yeah.
This Illuminati Secrets VHS.
And the stuff that's in it is nuts. I was like, my kids were looking through it. I was like, don't touch that stuff.
What?
Occult calendar.
I love the
You want to
occult
play
calendar.
with a Mickey Mantle rookie card, would you?
no, dude, it's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, just the level of and the variety of merch that you are getting in here. Stickers. I don't know what this is. A keychain to a room.
Room 237.
Patches.
That's a Stanley Kubrick reference.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what. Thomas is got such talent that he would almost 100% certainty he would be successful in any other place besides the handicapping
why did
that
it
he's
have
done
to
to
be
himself.
this?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you weren't in the conspiracy realm, you'd be a millionaire right now. You'd run your own toy store or collectible store or something like that. But instead you said, how do I take this talent and make my life very difficult? And I think
How
you've
do I
done a
turn it into
remarkable
a
job at that.
liability? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So guys, there we go. Those two cards. I was handing those out. Those are from the last Bohemian Grove.
They're
We were just
all over
handing
the
them out.
place. Look at these things are worldwide at this point. You guys,
Oh yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Top and Raven trading cards in Australia right now.
So last time we were here, we talked quite a bit about Bigfoot and his tuning fork, and I know that there is a lot that we left on the table in regards to Bigfoot because there is so much. I don't remember where we left it off. Do any of you guys have a launching pad for this conversation?
Yes, kind of and sort of. And then I was also trying to speed watch our last one to make sure that I didn't repeat the same. But I'm not 100% sure. So some of the might get double repeat. I don't know. But
That's fair. That's fair.
But anyways, Thomas, where do we want to get started? We want to start with a modern day.
Yeah, I mean, I usually like to start modern and go backwards and then loop back around modern because there's so many different ways we could apply all this. So like the biggest one, I guess, is why do we even care about Bigfoot in 2025? How has he not been phased out with so many other belief systems with like technology? And we got AI. So what role does Bigfoot have in a world with AI? And I think that in part is because he represents a return to nature the same way that he did 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. So if anything, this motif, this archetype of Bigfoot becomes more relevant the farther away from nature we sort of put ourselves. And
That's
I think
funny when you juxtaposition that against that meme, "Return to Monkey."
well, I mean, we were talking last night about some of the newer theories, and one of those newer theories is that Bigfoot is just the same animal that humans are before the aliens came and mutated the DNA or whatever approved way of describing that, and that it literally represents a fork in the road. So returning to Bigfoot might actually just mean like returning to pre-DNA manipulation.
I mean,
That's
everybody's
interesting.
seen the Liver King, dude, and tell me he's not hearkening back to something prehistoric, and he's basically Bigfoot at this point.
Something is severely wrong with the Liver King. I don't know what
Dude,
the hell
his
is going on.
goddamn eyeballs.
Well, you know what
the
it
fuck
is?
going on with the
I forgot who
eyeballs?
it was. I was watching something and they were like, "Oh, he's definitely on drugs." Apparently, he slapped himself in the eye with the resistance band, and he did this like a number of months ago. It broke and it hit him in the eye, and then ever since then, he's had one big pupil and one little pupil. I don't know how real that
Okay.
is, but
I'm rooting for him.
I am rooting for him. I'm hoping that he hurts Joe Rogan. Not because I dislike Joe Rogan, just because Elon Musk says the most entertaining outcome is the likeliest outcome, and the Liver King standing over Joe Rogan's triumphantly it's not something I want, but it is the most entertaining outcome.
Eating
And
Joe
so,
Rogan's liver? Wrong.
eating Joe Rogan's liver on live television on an Instagram live feed is
That
definitely
might
the
give you
most.
godlike powers. I'm not sure.
Either that, or it could make you telepathically communicate with dolphins, because I swear that's really what the float tanks are actually about. He's not meditating on his accomplishments. He's off dolphins and thinking about them. So yeah, I mean, there is this kind of return to, and I guess that's something that people long for right now in this age of AI and in this age of technology. It's all gotten so tiresome. Maybe that's why he's still relevant. But it also seems like Bigfoot is constantly like reinventing himself. I don't know if he's doing it, but we talked about in the last episode, these transitions where Bigfoot somehow remains part of the conversations, even if the conversation goes to portals, even if it goes to aliens and UFOs. The missing 411 cases with David Paulides. I think Bigfoot is at the heart of those theories. I'm not saying he's doing it, but he's certainly on everybody's mind when people go missing in national parks. So it is interesting that he's managed to, maintain relevancy.
Well, I like that idea that Thomas kind of led off with him being a creation or a DNA manipulation of early monkey and alien, because that's exactly. I mean, even though it sounds sci-fi stuff, it's kind of what we think too when we're talking about biblical stuff. We're talking about Nephilim. That's directly in line with this genetic breeding program. And how far did it stretch? Well, you've got Dogman, you've got Bigfoot, you've got Dolphin Donut would be all over the dolphins and things like that. So yeah, that's right there in line. But Bigfoot seems to be the origin of it, like one of the first.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess in my thoughts, I would kind of more consider Bigfoot the hominid that was originally found. So he's like the original man, and we are those experiments. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like we're the alien godlike, but we are the perfected being. Human is a perfected being from those experiments. And there was a lot of like homunculus, like freaky monsters, aka Lilith, and what came out of that magical. There's some real freaky stuff, dude.
Well, let's talk about some of those freakier. I mean, I know this is a Bigfoot conversation, but I know, for example, there was an island that was inhabited by little tiny creatures, like you could almost call them like gnomes or maybe somewhere in between gnomes and dwarves, halflings. But they were said to be Zeus's offspring, which is interesting because we kind of put Zeus in that fallen angel category, and you would think that any offspring of Zeus would be like some considerable demigod, right? Like a Perseus or something like that, or a Hercules. But within Greek mythology, there's this island of little tiny people that they say are the offspring of Zeus. And so then does that give some sort of connection to other cryptids like gnomes?
I mean, that's actually where I know Nate wanted to end this up anyway. We can just skip right to that because
that's interesting.
I guess the segue is that when you get back around going through all the historical versions of Bigfoot, then you start getting into like the ethereal versions. And one of the ideas that we were kicking back and forth was that the Patterson Gimlin footage, maybe that was part psyop, so that now if you're ever looking for a Bigfoot or you're expecting to see a Bigfoot, you kind of have a predicted version of it's going to be this big dude in a monkey suit, or a female in like a big gorilla suit out in the woods. And if that's what your mental model is, you completely bypass what Bigfoot might actually be. And one of those places where all these different ideas coalesce is that you might go to, say, like a paranormal convention, and you'll get one person there that believes in ghosts, and you'll get a person there that believes in like sort of evil spirits, but they scoff at ghosts. One that believes in aliens and doesn't believe any of this, and then the Bigfoot guy. And unless all four of those people are willing to admit that we might all be talking about the exact same thing, then it's really hard to sort of piece it together. But if you were that open-minded and you're like, okay, maybe what you're seeing as a ghost, that person sees as a Bigfoot, and that person sees as an alien, now it's not that much of a walk to go from that into fairies and into the other sort of these like interdimensional creatures, which I think that Bigfoot might just be like a stand-in for.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so a couple of years ago, that's when we made our first Bigfoot documentary. And I remember we had some connections with some of the big wigs, some of the dudes you see on TV, the big Bigfoot hunters and stuff. And the second that we mentioned that we thought he might be interdimensional or have some sort of psychic connection, they scoffed and told us to go ourselves.
How long ago was that?
So that was about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and that was if you were mentioning that he might be anything other than flesh and blood, they were like, go yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't want to hear about it.
Landscape has
and
changed tremendously in 2.5 years.
I think so. Yeah. I think that a lot of people, and dude, I honestly, like, I'm not patting myself on the back. I think some things that we're putting in the lexicon and some other folks are putting in the lexicon, the young cryptozoologists that are really have their feet on the ground are really open to these ideas, dude, because I think this is like harkening back to like Thiel. This is one giant phenomenon, and this is one thing, dude. It's a trickster entity. There's all this telepathic communication. This is one thing.
That's
I
interesting
think.
because I don't know how much we talked about it on the last episode, but we did speak with Nathaniel Gillis, who calls it the phenomenon, and he talks about how, you know, there was a time in history where it took on, how he puts it, horns and hooves, right? Like that kind of a demonic visage, and then it's you know, morphed over time, and it brings to mind that idea of Crowley's talking to Lamb, and Lamb is saying, actually, I don't know if he's saying it or if Crowley's saying it, but there's this quote that comes out of that interaction where it's like, they called us demons in the past, and you know, tomorrow they'll call us aliens or something to that effect. You know, just alluding to the idea that as society changes, so then does the label that we put on this thing. But it would certainly help to explain something that I guess previous cryptozoologists would have put to the side, because they don't have a way to categorize it, which is, why do these events all seemingly take place in conjunction with one another? So people that have a Bigfoot experience will talk about seeing orbs of light in the sky, or after they have the Bigfoot experience, they'll go back to their homes and experience poltergeist activity. You know, things moving in their homes, lights turning on and off, doors opening and closing, things of that nature. And if you are of the old school, train of thought when it comes to cryptozoology, as in this is some sort of missing link hominid, or just a leftover from Gigantopithecus or something like that, you have a real problem when those stories arise, and when they do, you just kind of push them off to the side and never mind them.
There's a lot of never minding, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
But dude, honestly, I think that there is a physical component to this thing as well, which I like to f around with as well. So I like to go down this weird theory, and that's kind of touching more on what we just mentioned, actually, of this wild creature that, kind of like the Anunnaki described. They found this big dumb hominid, right? And that's the one that they diddled genetically, and then we were created from like a union of this creature. So we had godlike tendencies, and then we also were big monkeys. And there is something to that we are definitely different than any other animal on this planet. There's something unique and I would say godlike, something like in the depiction of like eating the apple of of knowledge of good and evil and things like that. That could be describing a genetic change that happened to us, and then our minds were opened up, stoned ape theory sort of thing. And whatever this creature is, I almost think that, and maybe they're gone, but I think. So I like to play with this idea that whatever Bigfoot is, maybe is a version of us that was isolated, and they kind of went down their own genetic path, and they just have different attributes. So for their environment, they want to swim now, right? Because they got trapped on an island. So some idea of, they are humans, but they just evolved separately and differently from us. And something you could f around with is something like this. So you can have like a pig, babe, cute little pig, and you let it out of its hutch and you let it go into the woods, even just for like a month or two. It starts growing like tusks. It starts getting woolly hair. It starts getting aggressive. It starts getting different. And I love to talk about, I always forget this guy's name. I love talking about this Russian scientist. His name was Dmitry Belyayev. If I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Russians can yell at me.
I can't correct you, so I'll accept
Yeah.
it. I'll allow it.
So there's something called the Russian fox experiment. So what they did is they took a bunch of foxes, right? And they had some really cute ones that would come up and lick your hand and would eat food right out of your hand. And then you had ones that were that might try to nip at you, growl at you. And so they separated these two groups. And they let the mean ones, and the nice ones, the nice ones. And with just a couple of generations, the nice ones started licking your hand. They started getting dopey ears and they started getting spots. The other ones started getting gnarly ass fangs, started getting long, more wild hair. They were much more aggressive and carnivorous and became ultra. And just like this weird, I think that whatever Bigfoot is could just be a wilder human version of us. If I don't know where.
Well, no, I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, so there's this very specific term for that. It's called going feral. And
Yes.
like if you ever seen the movie Nell, there's a million of them, but Nell, I think it's like Jodie Foster, and she kind of grows up feral. And it shows that once you hit a certain threshold in time, you kind of get locked in to either being full human or full feral. And there was like some older thoughts. One of them was called the bicameral mind theory, I believe. And one of these in the context of feral children is that I think there's a couple milestones, like at the age of 3, and then again at like the age of 5 or 6, that if you're being raised by wild animals, it'll never feel natural for you to stand upright on 2 legs. It'll only feel natural to go around on all 4s. If you were raised that way in those different cases of being feral. And this was backed up in research, I think, like the 80s and 90s. And I'm sure someone found it problematic in the early 2000s. Like, what are you doing to these kids, raising them with wolves? But there's a version of that where Nate's explaining this Bigfoot that who's to say there can't be a feral version of a Bigfoot and a non-feral version that's almost been domesticated, but on Bigfoot's terms. Because the other analogy I think of is look at the plethora of dog species that we've got because of all the different specialized roles that humans fit dogs into over the last just 1,000 years, right? And then you can almost extrapolate that because Bigfoot stories go back at least 2,000 years in the Americas alone, where even people then were reporting seeing like an entire family of Bigfoot. They're reporting seeing them alongside coyotes. They were eating these moons, so these like huge coyotes, which seems like an analog to Dogman. So if these are at least 2,000 years old, then it kind of goes alongside with they would have the same amount of variety that you'd expect from any sort of like subspecies of dog.
That is interesting. Go ahead, Top.
No, yeah, we brought it up last time. We were talking about Doc Brown's theory on Jacob and Esau, and if you guys are onto something, he's kind of like confirming you a little bit here because if Esau was a Bigfoot and they came out of the same woman, then that would imply that humans would be birthing these things. A non-feral Bigfoot, right? That's at least what people think. The guy came out mad, hairy, smelled like the field, all kinds of shit like this. But his brother was normal. So the question is, like, I always thought along the lines of maybe she had some sort of, I don't know, like abduction scenario or like demonic possession or whatever, where it's like an immaculate conception where half of the seed is from something else. Maybe it's from the same thing, but it's just a genetic split, a variation. And that's
like
where
genetic leftover. And then if that one literally gets casted out into the wild, right, which is effectively what happens to Esau in you know, not so many words, he's casted out. Then I'm sorry. I was thinking of Cain. Never mind. Let me retract that. But I was just saying if he was to be exposed to the wilderness for any length of time, then maybe he would pick up feral traits. So it's like a latent genetic marker that shows up and only affects one of the kids. And then if he spends a disproportionate amount of time in the wilderness and then has, let's say, children who also are raised in the wilderness, then it just begets this whole other line.
I could push this out a little bit further too, because on some of Doc Brown's research, another interpretation is that as opposed to just straight up coming out hairy, that this was a reference to a woolly coat or like some kind of an adornment that you would put on that he ended up getting from Nimrod. And that's why he came back in from the field like completely famished, it was because he just had the biggest battle of his lifetime, taking down the world's greatest hunter at that time, like legendary, and that he gets this coat out of it. And if you start reeling back, like, okay, well, if there was a coat, where did this coat come from? You can pinpoint it to the moment that Adam and Eve actually eat this forbidden fruit, and Satan, or the large serpent, it sheds its skin, and that skin turns into that coat, and that could technically be the exact same coat that we're talking about Esau being his birthright that he passes off and causes the entire sort of situation on that. So if that's the case, I mean, there's an analogy for if you were to take a human and then wrap the humanness into another animal, it's almost like cryptography, not cryptozoology, same prefix, but it's taking a thing and then hiding it behind another thing. So in that case, that whole story of Esau and the whole thing, even the story itself, is about going into the room and tricking your dad into feeling your exterior to pass off what's actually on the interior. So in this interpretation, the whole Bigfoot Esau story could also just be like a vehicle. I mean, imagine like a Bigfoot Voltron that you can just step into and step out of, right? Like it's a hat that you can take on and off.
Well, that's interesting because there are a lot of there's a lot of people that believe in, when it comes to these sort of like ancestral worship groups, or any of these ancient tribes who believe in various spirits that they worship, that they will often dress like the thing that they want to possess them. That's something that Paul Stobbs did a great job of highlighting on our show. Is this idea that you would dress like the thing that you would want to possess you. So sometimes we'll look at these tribes people and they're dressing like, these really obtuse looking creatures, monsters even, and they'll say things like, "Oh, we do it to ward off the evil spirits," as if the spirits are retarded, and don't realize that it's just an Ethiopian in a a wooden mask. And really, it's like you're doing all this ceremony, all these chants, right? You're getting these frequencies involved, you're getting these substances involved, and you're dressing like these various spiritual entities. And then, next thing you know, they're behaving as if they're possessed. So maybe it is something along that line too, right?
Well,
It's like
sympathetic magic. It's exactly what that is. Doing
Exactly.
like to attract like. And I guess describing that same method, but maybe it ends up being like a being John Malkovich Bigfoot edition.
There you go. One of the things, like, I can get behind this idea that it's a deviation in sort of the human genome, and it becomes kind of the premise for like the wild man, right? Like there's a lot of stories throughout history of the wild man. But then there does seem to be something almost as if that split goes through something similar to what people, theorize is like the stoned ape theory, or even like an Anunnaki style intervention in the evolution of human beings. And that is, it stops being this, lumbering kind of ape. And then all of a sudden you have these instances where it seems highly intelligent and motivated. And also, it seems to be, we've talked about in the previous show, there's a hierarchy in some cases where they are almost the keepers or the ringleaders of various other cryptids, including the dogman scenario, where it seems that they become attack dogs. So I know we talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but I can't help but wonder if there is a phenomenon that takes a bunch of different forms. Maybe it doesn't.
I think it totally does. I'm actually glad you brought up the stoned ape aspect of this, because I guess the scientific premise of the practical version of stoned ape theory is that monkeys eat mushrooms, and then in that there's a quantum leap in intelligence. And the reason for that quantum leap in intelligence is that the brain gets 4 times the surface area that it used to. So now all of a sudden it's capable of higher level cognitive thinking, more memory, more intuition, more intent. So there could be, if we're discussing in those terms, instead of a stoned ape theory, you've got the stone ape, who's like the Bigfoot version, and maybe instead of a 4x surface area in the brain, maybe there's like a 4x surface area of like the aura, or like a spiritual sort of leap, quantum leap, as opposed to just like brain power. And if that's true, then that kind of represents this guardian mentality. All the reports of Bigfoot having ESP, being able to communicate telepathically with people to discover it, being able to detect if you've got bad intent before you even step foot in the forest. All of that seems like it would come along if there was such thing as a quantum leap in I don't know if you call it like emotional intelligence or like situational awareness. It's like the
Right.
ultimate Jason Bourne with hair.
Well, even if you we don't necessarily subscribe to the Anunnaki thing in its strictest version. I think in my estimation, it almost seems like the fallen telling you most of the truth, but deviating on an important factor, saying that they're the ones that created us and we're nothing more than a slave race to harness gold to suspend in their atmosphere or some goofy like that, while still telling you quite a bit of truth about the nature of, the realm that we inhabit. It's always the thing is they tell you a lot and then it seems like they deviate on really important points. But let's just take that theory, at face value that there's a intervention on behalf of these entities that are either outside of our solar system or outside of our dimension. Doesn't matter, from another planet, Nibiru. It doesn't really matter their source, but they're coming here and they are altering our genome for whatever their purposes are. It does strike me as significant that it wouldn't just be us, right? I mean, even not historically, mythologically speaking, if you look back, there's all kinds of chimeric creatures. And everybody's pretty comfortable with the idea that, let's say, the fallen, for example, were genetically modifying everything. There was all kinds of monsters that came out of this era and that were, killed off in the flood. And there's still some remnants and things like that. But it gives, if you take, for example, the cherubim, right, with the face of a lion, the face of a man, the face of an eagle, and the face of an oxen. Well, right there, you have the precedent for a lot of different creatures, like, for example, the Minotaur, right, which is this bull-faced, bull upper body, not even upper body, it's just a bull-headed man. All these different creatures can be attributed one way or another to some form of angel. And so if they weren't just screwing with humans, then let's say it was an alien intervention or whatever it was, and Bigfoot truly does inhabit this planet in some sort of a form where it's just a branch off of humanity, for sure they would look at that and be like, what in the hell can we do with this thing? This thing seems like a lot of fun. Why don't we take this, probably bitter creature? Because if you look into the history or supposed history of giants, it's like human beings banded together and basically hunted them down, right? You have the stories
And
of them getting...
pygmies.
Right. So I imagine these things probably weren't too pumped about us if they did exist. I'm sure they got ran out of everywhere. They got hunted down to extinction, smoked out of and suffocated in cave systems, all these crazy things. And if something came to them and altered them, that they would make a real good foot soldier for them, especially if it was pitted against us. Was that really crazy?
Only slightly. They're looking at you like, what did he just
It's
say?
my flavor of crazy, dude. I like it.
Good.
So I don't know if we got into the Ivan Ivanovich stuff on the last one briefly, but that was the guy, the Russian scientist that was actually trying to breed orangutans with humans to create these humanzees, which is kind of that exact premise of taking the intellect of a human being and matching it with the physical prowess of a orangutan in that case, because I guess that's the closest he came, according to him, that apes and chimpanzees were not as compatible as orangutan for some reason.
Yeah, buddy. I was gonna bring that up here in a second too, because it's like it's the Timu version of what the Anunnaki were trying to do. This is like us. This is like us trying to make it happen without the giant alien technology. So he was like getting real rudimentary, and he was getting some fine ass Russian broads, and he was like, "All right, do it."
Oh, okay. All right. I want to hear about the humanzees in a moment, but before we go any further, so I want to hear about these Russian bros having the orangutans. Before we go any further, guys, we're at the 36-minute mark. There is only two ways to continue listening to this show, and that is either by going to Reality Czars on, looks like Rumble, or you can go to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad and continue watching this episode. Otherwise, to YouTube and Rumble for Nephilim Death Squad and X and all that, we're leaving. Go to those places, go to Reality Czars, and subscribe while you're there. Don't be a homo. Subscribe to Reality Czars and continue watching this, or go to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. All right. So tell me about these lovely Russian women having what I assume is consensual with orangutans.
Yeah, consensual. You know, when a communist,
Burning coal, huh?
soldier has a gun pointed at you, and there's a monkey, and so I supposedly, like, if you read about it now, they say that all they did was like extract some monkey cum and then try to stuff it into a broad. But
Turkey
there's
baster.
more stories that actually some of these ladies had to take the monkey gland. Um, for the
Man.
motherland. Actually, me and Thomas were working on an AI song about this, taking the monkey gland for the motherland. So look out for that, everyone.
That's a song that writes itself, and that's a romance song actually.
Did
It's a
you
love song.
you came across this on your other show about bestiality, or is this something private research?
We can go on that tangent for sure.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, so I mean, to what extent is that real? Because human beings have a long history of chimeric creation, right? And on Nephilim Death Squad, we believe that that was taught to them by the fallen. You know, that's what you know. I think that the Egyptian pantheon was real. I think that all these hawk-headed and jackal-headed, that they were all actual entities that did exist, that were created, through this genetic manipulation, and people are quite comfortable with the Anunnaki side of that narrative too. So in either school of thought, it seems that we've accepted to some degree within the conspiracy community that, yeah, these ancient entities were mincing all kinds of DNA between all kinds of creatures. And so, much like Ecclesiastes says, nothing new is under the sun. I'd imagine, China is doing this. Whoever's not regulated, and even our regulations that say, like, no, you can't clone and create chimeric monsters. Like, we're still doing it. Of course, we're still doing it in some deep underground military base somewhere. We're making, there's probably clones of us right now that they've mashed together into some sort of horrid creature.
I think you posted earlier today that someone found a stingray in the middle of New York City, and they brought it directly into a Chinese restaurant, and they were just like, we will cut that up right now and cook it and serve it. And I'm sure that wasn't exactly with the health code, so you could just apply that all the way up the chain to however serious you want to get.
Ninja Turtles was a real story.
Even if it was a real story, video footage, even if there was something like a humanity created, let's say it was successful, a lot of these chimeric style creatures, they would be non-viable, meaning like you could only create them and then they can't reproduce each other. The most common example was like a mule, right? When you get like a donkey and a horse or something to mate, and it creates a non-viable offspring. So there is clearly all sorts of unexpected combinations that will work out there. Liger, I guess, is another one. And if it was the military was behind this and not just some random guy in a barn, having his way with animals, then the military would likely keep that success incredibly secretive. And this is probably why they jumped around through them.
Oh, shout out Meat Cavern, yeah. And you know what I don't understand though is, why is a man who's performing private scientific experiments any less valid than a governing body that's doing these? In other words, if a man wants to have sex with a sheep and see if it makes a sham or a meeple, then that's fine in my book if they get to do it. Have you ever heard this idea that, so around military bases is where you'll find a lot of these cryptid sightings, and that's given rise to this idea that not only are they trying to create these things, in fact, I believe there's a real interesting story behind the idea of the Montauk monster. It might be the Montauk monster, but how they were creating chimeric creatures, human animal mashups. They had some sort of sentience, some sort of intelligence about them. And during a sort of an alarm of sorts, like, I don't know, it's like, imagine like a fire alarm goes off, and then all the systems open and everything goes to like emergency default mode. And during this, these creatures manage to escape, and they send effectively like a team after them. And there's all kinds of creatures in this mix-up. I forget where the story comes from, but there's all kinds of creatures in this mix-up. Gator man, all sorts of things. And long story short, winter rolls in before they account for all of these escapees, and they just assume that the winter is going to, do the rest of it. And then what ends up happening, Top, you might know the name of this. It was like the Wichita Big Cat or some like that. What is it? It's a big ass cat man. essentially, and it's like one of a supposed group of creatures that escaped. Long story short, winter doesn't kill them because later on there are cryptid sightings throughout the years, and they kind of fit the bill of what supposedly happened at this facility. So it seems like maybe they are creating these creatures still, and then in some cases it seems like they might even be posting them up as guard dogs at military bases, given the amount of sightings in proximity to military bases.
Well, there's another military connection here too, because in the Vietnam War there was a spike in Bigfoot sightings of these creatures they called rock apes, because like we were talking, I think maybe even before recording, that some of the reports were that these large stones would just start getting thrown through the air, and they trace them back to these large hominid style creatures that are throwing them. And this is happening in North Vietnam, along the line, right where they're dumping Agent Orange and they're destroying all the foliage. So you're kind of like, when you say smoking them out of the tunnels, that's kind of this version in Vietnam. And this wasn't just being reported by the native Vietnamese. These were also being reported in record numbers by U.S. soldiers that are stationed in North Vietnam, seeing the exact same thing, that are pairing up with much older, sort of ancient, like reports of these creatures.
We were just on yesterday with Quite Frankly, and we were talking about the Vietnam War, specifically the implementation of Dysonian glass. At the time, they were using it for like night vision stuff, and the U.S. Army was reporting that they're seeing entities throughout the forest and stuff. So yeah, whatever we were doing in Vietnam, it's interesting. I wasn't aware of the Bigfoot connection, but we're stirring up some like weird spiritual activity, and people were going crazy as they're looking through this, Dysonian glass stuff. And this stuff is like, it's just a blue dye that is extremely toxic if you put on glass, and it somehow allows you to see the aura of people around you. They developed it to see at night, but it's still a little bit more. So it's kind of crazy, because it's a 1-to-1. Wherever Bigfoot goes, you've got this supernatural alien type phenomenon thing that's always following it. It's uncanny.
Oh, by the way, so I got it. It's the Clicka Tat Ape Cat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so this is from Clicka Tat County, Washington. And yeah, it's some sort of, it looks like a panther mixed with an ape, and it is some believe it to be a product of animal experimentation, or related to the geological history of the area. But it seems to have some part in like a larger, I guess, not mythology. What would you call it? Like a local legend. There's a word for it. I forget what it is, but let's call it a local legend for now, that these creatures, a gang of them, all different in their nature and visage, escaped from some sort of a military base where they were being experimented on and created in that way. And so they have some sort of sentience, some sort of intelligence about them. And probably most of them died because of the squad that was sent after them. But some of them, for example, the Clicka Tat Ape Cat, did escape and is still seen occasionally. And so you'll actually get stories from people running into it in the wild. Lore, there we go. Lore. Thank you, Z-Man. He's always doing the thing. Thank you for the thing that you do.
Just bailing us out.
That's it.
But yeah, going back to this, that idea, that Dysonian glass, this was created by this guy, John Kilner, and the Army took it and was using it in scopes for obviously military purposes. But it seems like this guy developed this stuff for more esoteric reasons. He wrote a book called The Human Atmosphere. This is what he was after. He was trying to find out if you could accurately view somebody's aura, or the color that's around them, or if there's more or less of it depending on if they're sick or not. It's just really interesting that this would pop up again, like Bigfoot's popping up as this is happening, and they're doing all kinds of, what was the operation called, where they're playing like people screaming in the forest, just driving people mad.
Yeah, that was horrifying, because if they don't bury their dead within a day or something, that the spirits become restless or something like that. So after a big battle, we started, I forgot what it was Michael Aquino was talking about it, I think. And we played some sort of like the sounds of the souls of the dead soldiers.
I believe, I can't remember the name of the operation, but I believe it was related to Edward Lansdale, because he was also the one that would hang bodies up and drain them of blood to convince all of the villagers that these vampires had been through in the middle of the night, and he would draw big evil eyes and blood on the sides of buildings to just rile up, people that were, highly suggestible, so that the American propaganda could sink in a little deeper.
Yeah, yeah. I think it worked pretty well because those people were freaked the out.
Man, where do you put that? Do you think that it's because it's a hard one, right? It's like a lot of it we're doing, but I think that some of that stuff actually happens. So it's like, where's the line?
What, the
Yeah.
Aswang? Oh, those are those vampire creatures. You think that maybe the Aswang were real and they really were draining some people of blood at some point in history, and we were just like leveraging that?
Well, I see what you're doing over there, Nate. So my thing is, like, I think if there are truly dark entities, like negative entities that can maybe take us, physical form at one period and are mostly spiritual, yada yada, I think that they do exist, and I think that they feed off of, really intense negative energy. For example, we were talking about it on Frank's show, where we had someone who is a great researcher when it comes to the Oklahoma City bombing. And they told us something, but they said that when we asked them to come on the show to talk about it, but basically when you're dealing with sort of the nuts and bolts of a situation and you want to be taken seriously as a researcher, because this has, FBI, government corruption at the head of it, you can't discredit yourself.
You can't talk about interdimensional Bigfoot.
You can't talk about retarded shit. Yeah. But what he was telling us was that the amount of separate but correlating reports from people on the ground after the OKC bombing about seeing demons and angels in the aftermath were like pretty astounding. And these are people that, these are separate accounts. And they all kind of were talking about the same. So I think when you do have a really brutal, negative moment that takes place, number one, it's going to make people around there behave crazy. So, not surprising that somebody within our military intelligence was inspired to do some horrific like that. I think that really has a way of drawing the evil out of a person. But also it attracts things, I think. And those things, so it's interesting because it's like the fog of war. It muddies the water. It makes it seem like, oh no, that was strictly a military operation. It's like, why not both? Can it not be both? I think maybe that is the truth of the matter.
And is it just coincidence that the blueprints for Oklahoma City were laid at a place called Elohim City? So it sort of starts with in a biblical context.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah, Elohim City, and which is a wild backstory, because the city itself was supposed to have been identified as this hotbed of white nationalist, like patriotic militia takeover. But if you were to actually send boots on the ground there, it was mostly undercover ATF, undercover CIA, undercover FBI. There were some there from like the Southern Poverty Law Center. There was a whole bunch of people undercover, to the point where there was probably more undercover alphabet agency people than actual white nationalists. So they show up and they just get trained.
3/4, Thomas. 3/4 of the people that were there were
Spider-Man.
government. Yeah.
That's Spider-Man
this is the real Elohim City, and this is where the plans were laid for Oklahoma City.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's safe to say you can grant a certain level of intelligence to ancient entities that have been around for a really long time, that have been watching mankind, that seemingly hate us. They resent us. They're our adversaries in very many ways, and they want to operate in a way where it's much more to their benefit if humans don't even believe they actually exist. Then you really have the upper hand, right? So you have this moment where you are dealing in the fog of war. There's enough negative energy for you to feed off of and manifest in a big way. And the best part is, when it's all said and done, everyone's going to turn and go, no, that was a Michael Aquino operation. That was never real to begin with. And so I think that that's probably, you're dealing with a very messy situation.
Yeah,
so going back to Vietnam, I think that's probably the case.
It's like, it feels like one of those all of the above situations where like COVID is like COVID was just, it's a population thing. It's a thing that, it's a bioweapon release. It was an economic tool, like economic transfer tools. Like, why not all those things?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if I was doing it, you just yeah, all the cards are on the table. I'm taking it all. And it's like that's kind of how I view most conspiracies at this point. It's like everything you said and more.
Well, I think to quote Eric Holder, who was also related to Oklahoma City, but never let a good tragedy go to waste. So when you see one thing that can be 20 things, why not take advantage of every single facet of that? Because someone else is going to.
Yeah, that's that Tyrion Lannister line. Or I don't know if it was Tyrion. No, I think it was the bald eunuch who said in Game of Thrones that chaos is a ladder. I'm like, yeah, that's it. So in those moments where everything is, when all the hits the fan, a lot of power vacuums are created, and a lot of things are trying to climb that ladder. But that Dysonian glass, what's funny is I was talking on the show about it. I thought it was you, Thomas, but I guess not, or else you'd have said it by now. Somebody that we know purchased Dysonian glass goggles. You can actually buy them. I don't know, the veracity. I don't know how real they are. But I remember watching the video and this person saying like, yeah, they're oh, I remember who it was. What's Black Tesla's name?
Yeah.
Dr. Parkinson, Dr. Plinkenstein, Dr.
Parkinstone or something.
Parkinson.
He's a
Dr.
weirdo.
Parkinstein. I like him. He's a weird ass dude, but I like him.
Have you had him on?
No. We were gonna have him on, but then I think he realized like, this is not a good place for me to be. So
apparently,
he didn't.
Him and Matt Rife have like big beef because they're like
big scientist beef.
Big scientist beef.
No, I can extract energy from the ionosphere better than you can.
No, it's like 'cause he's like, oh, you can send. So Black Tesla's like, you can send all these, all this electricity through the ground.
As he's playing old timey music.
Yeah, with his top hat. and he's like, I can send electricity through the ground. It's free. And then Matt Rife is like, yeah, but if you that up, you're going to destroy everything in its path. There's a something that, an effect that can take place and it's going to annihilate. And basically Rife's trying to tell me that. And I'm going, you're talking to the wrong. I just say you have beef with Black Tesla and that's good enough for me. I don't understand the actual science of it. But he bought Dysonian glass. And so I kind of go, well, that guy I believe because he does science, right? So, maybe I'll trust the experts. So he bought it and he's like, yeah, you can see auras with this. And he's like, he tells you like the different. And when a guy creates like a Nikola Tesla pylon in his backyard around his swimming pool or something like that, and then resurrects a 1920s like old vehicle, and I go, all right, maybe is this
coil not perfectly in tune with the Tesla coil, but close, and the bottom of it is grounded, and then this coil is inductively coupled, but does not connect directly to the antenna coil.
This is the guy from Family Guy, right? The old man down the street.
He does. I'm coming to get you.
Mouth, but doing the actual work and disproving or proving for yourself.
This guy's wild. It's insane. It's
the space between his eyes makes me feel like he really is sharing like his brain and Tesla's brain. Like it's just, and it split his eyes apart.
It's the 1920s music that I can't get over, where he's just doing like old timey experiments and just where's the music?
Is that a top hat in his experiment?
The bottom of it is grounded, and then this coil is inductively coupled, but does not connect.
I don't know what the you're talking about,
this
bro.
Coil is inductively. I like when he, so when a guy goes, well, I bought Dysonian glass, and it turns out that it is real, and if you put it on, you can see people's auras, and if you have a pink aura, it means this, and if you have a white aura, it means that. I go, this guy, it probably isn't lying to me. He's probably telling the truth. So. There is in fact, Top, if you go to his page and you type in Dysonian, you'll find the video of him having Dysonian glass. So anyway, he says that it's real, but he says like, he's like, you can't see, I don't see any demons around here. I just see auras. and in Vietnam, they saw demons. Is that because the same way people were able to see demons and angels on the floor at the Oklahoma City bombing, it's like they're not just rolling around in your living room. There he is.
I just got to see the first 30 seconds.
Okay, today I'm going to be talking about my Dysonian aura goggles.
Oh, Dysonian.
So I've noticed there's been a lot of videos going around about my Dysonian goggles that I got from my friend Brent. So I will go ahead and tell you the story and show you what they do.
I gotta watch this on my own time. This is just pure
it's too-
entertainment.
but he basically says like, no, you dumb, there's no demons. But like, I'm like, hey, Dr. Parkenstein, go to
Go
a
to
war
Gettysburg.
zone.
Yeah.
Go to
100%,
Leesburg. Go to a war. Go to Bohemian Grove and put on your Dysonian glasses and tell me what you see. And 100%, I think it's a matter of the energetic exchange that's happening in any given moment. I think that's what it comes down to, because you're not just going to see them chilling they're not interested in your pylons, Dr. Parkenstein. That's why you're not seeing them. They're not. He
I
is an
feel like
angel.
I'd give more credit to the technology if I saw SWAT teams using it to pull people over on the side of the road, because that's
That'd be cool.
right. Because if there was an actual way that you could analyze aura, it would just be used to track us and imprison us or sell things to us.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that is true. Well, I mean, look, he says that everybody has a different color around them. And I don't think he goes into like great lengths. He just tells you like what the auras supposedly mean. Now, Dr. Plinkenstein is not saying, I think in that video, that he believes this is what the colors indicate. He's just saying on this here sheet, this is what it's claiming the colors indicate. But it does seem that he's confirming different folks got different colors. And that's fascinating. I don't know what to make of that. But,
I think we've honed in on what the merch is going to have to be for Bro Grow 4.
Oh my God!
gonna
Are we
need
gonna
these
hang?
goggles.
Lion and goggles. The VIP merch.
Come and get your Dysonian goggles, guys. Oh my God. That's such a good idea. If we do that,
Honestly,
for
dude,
Bohemian Grove 4.
if you can get those goggles, like if we can, I
Well,
don't
he
know how much they
purchased them.
cost.
They're like $100 and something bucks, but maybe we can give them to the VIP members.
That's great.
Yeah. So we'll do that. Bohemian Grove 4. You can get if you're a VIP member, it's gonna be your tickets are gonna cost a lot, but you'll get some Dysonian. I don't know how to pronounce it. You'll get some goggles, some aura viewing goggles. So I don't know. I mean, I don't remember even how So how does that pertain to Bigfoot?
Well, how it pertains to Bigfoot is because we were talking about how does Bigfoot get these abilities to tell what your intent is from miles away, or know that you've got a gun on you, or that you're out to hunt him, or ill intent? Well, if there were a way, and one of the attributes out of the long list that me and Nate have been tracking is the glowing eyes and the ability to kind of foresee danger way before it comes. Like it has like a spidey sense. And me and Nate have been working on a spreadsheet, because I don't know if this one even exists, but a full matrix of every single reported characteristic of a Bigfoot, from the sulfur smell to long red hair to being 7 feet or over, from being in an environment filled with woods to having a guardian persona, all these different very specific traits, and just laid them all out and actually get like a full number count on exactly how many, what's the ratio of Bigfoot tails that have long hair versus ones that don't, that have glowing eyes versus the ones that don't.
Yes,
you
dude,
guys have
it
to come
covers
with us, because
every single Bigfoot variant that you can imagine. I've spent hours this morning. I've been spending hours on the spreadsheet. I'm a
Literal
data
hours.
entry- Yeah.
really, you've been doing it this morning. You guys have to come with us to. We're trying to go to. As of today, we're trying to go to Moon Lake, which is it's a location in Utah. I'll tell you right now. Give me a second. I actually have a link for it. So what they've done here it is, gathering at Moon Lake. They are offering calling all content creators. Your community deserves a legendary meetup. This is the Gathering at Moon Lake Morgan Powwow. Imagine telling your followers, meet me where treasure legends come alive and Bigfoot might be lurking in the pines, and where UFO sightings happen regularly. So 2025, August 14th through 16th in Duchesne, Utah. It's not just treasure hunting or cryptid UFO event. It's a ready-made content creator stage, a place to host your own community meetup under one roof. So we're gonna try to. I emailed them because we can go there for free. Obviously, we'll have to figure out like our flight and stuff like that. But we're gonna see about going August 14th through the 16th to Moon Lake, which is 10 miles from Skinwalker Ranch. I feel like you guys have to be there. You guys have to figure out how to come to this. I know I'm springing this on you last moment, but I just discovered it as well, and it feels right, wouldn't it? Don't you guys?
Do they allow astral projection attendance?
I mean, I don't know if they'll allow that, but how are they going to stop it? Is really the most important question. Who is going to stop you from astral projecting into Moon Lake?
Chemtrails.
Oh, that's true
Chemtrails,
too.
the
Yeah,
CIA. They're
heavy
pretty good at
aluminum
stopping
coverage
that.
will f that up. Yeah.
That's what the
Uh,
5G towers are for, dude.
Oh, dude, that
telling you.
100% they're to stop you. Did you hear we're getting close to 6G? They're gonna 6G us soon, and that's gonna. I'm sure that's gonna feel good. But I think that all the stuff that goes on in Utah, Skinwalker Ranch, and things like that, that should be, if you guys are trying to create an amalgamation or a list rather of all the attributes of Bigfoot, you've got to go get some firsthand experience. You guys have to the forests of Utah.
If there
Yeah,
was a
buddy.
way that you could consistently and reliably have a Bigfoot encounter, it would probably be the most popular attraction in the entire world, right?
Well, and see, that's why it's so heavily occulted, Thomas, because we have had guests come on the show and talk about there are elite groups and circles like Hillary Clinton, that type of folks. The whole Clinton, that's really what the Clinton Foundation is about. Yeah. These folks, this is, and I think maybe this is what they're doing at Bohemian Grove, not Bohemian Grove, but maybe they will next year. They are having these crazy seances where they can actually bring a Bigfoot. They can summon a Bigfoot. And there's like religious cults around summoning these Bigfoots. And they're having these like weird like communications. And they say consistently, you can bring a Bigfoot there. And I love this, and I don't know how to do this, and I need to do more research. But dude, how much fun would that be if we summoned a Bigfoot?
Check this out.
Moon Lake.
I don't
a
like how you say
connection.
summon.
Well, but yeah, I mean, well, look, there seems to be a connection. This was just on a whim that I looked this up between CE-5 and Bigfoot. CE-5 being Stephen Greer's binaural
We're
beats
all
app.
over it, dude. We're using Stephen Greer's CE-5 meditations to call in Bigfoot. We're using
That's
psychic
what
communications.
what Nate is the closest thing Pro Grove would get to a Bigfoot. Yeah,
Wait,
I
if
was
you're
very
doing-
upset
you
that you
guys
weren't
are-
at this one.
You're doing CE5?
We were doing CE-5 meditations to call in Bigfoot.
Have you
that
done
like?
it? Are you serious? Have you done it?
100% we were doing that. Yes.
Okay, tell
it
me.
didn't work.
Did anything happen?
Yes, actually, we had every single person. My eldest son, I think he was 16 at the time. His buddies were there. It was my good friend and me, and we sat there and we had this meditation session, and we were all telepathically connected with a Bigfoot. We all saw an eye, and he was staring at us. He was giving us scary, like basically we were like we were near Mount Hood. We were in a place called Bonnie Meadows, and this is in the middle of nowhere, dude. And we were all going down this path, and every once in a while we'd stop and have like a time of intention. So we're sitting there trying to communicate with the Bigfoots that are there. And then we all saw an eye, and we all had this angry, like malevolent. He basically told us, if you go that direction right down there, there's my wife and my kids. If you continue on this path, I'm going to tear you to pieces.
Interesting.
He said, turn around and go back that way.
That's when you
Okay.
send the drone down that path.
Yeah. Well,
we did actually have a drone. We probably should have, but
Yeah,
we
dude.
didn't.
It's like the
We
mushrooms.
turned
kept me from doing
around.
this.
We cucked hard. And we were like, okay, Bigfoot. Okay, Daddy. And we turned around and walked away.
Okay, all right. I got to tell you something because so there was a time where I was wondering, remote viewing astral projection seems like a natural function of the human experience, and is it inherently a negative thing to engage in? And so I was kind of like praying on it and trying to get some answers about that. And I said to myself, if it's not inherently a negative thing to engage in, then show me a way to do it. I'm talking to God, and I'm saying, show me a way to do it. So very, very quickly, I get my answer for that, which is like it dawns on me. Oh, binaural beats. That's more or less what happens in my mind. And I go, okay, but I haven't got my first answer yet. So I'm not going to go and look up binaural beats or anything like that to listen to try to, dissociate from my body and go into some astral realm. I'm going to wait on it. But I know how to do it if I decide to. So I wait on it. Next thing you know, I get an email that comes in, and it's for NDS Chronicles, which is our testimony-based show. People can write in, tell us about their insane experiences, and we'll read them on air. And I never read them. I never pre-screen them because I don't want to spoil it for me. But this one I just felt compelled to read. So this one actually came from, was this Pastor Ben, Top?
Yep.
I think it was Pastor Ben who's become quite the homie. Shout out Pastor Ben. And he starts talking about, how he goes through, coincidentally, this, search for how to astral project, how to remote view. He starts doing it. He discovers that you could do it by way of binaural beats. I'm like, this is uncanny. And he talks about how there's a specific hertz that the binaural beats have to get played at, and they will cause a dissociative state rather rapidly and very reliably. So this is the thing that he does for a long time. Long story short, he discovers that it also acts as a sort of beacon. So when he disassociates and begins, remote viewing or astral projecting, his then, physical form is left, uninhabited. And last time you guys were here, we talked about a homunculus, having sex with some dude's wife because it was guarding his body, right? I believe that was you guys that brought that up. So he starts talking about how all of a sudden he has a plethora of alien abduction phenomenon taking place, sleep paralysis, and a poltergeist activity around his house, and he stops it immediately because he realizes like he's inviting something in, or at the very least he's tempting something to come in and try to inhabit his physical form. Then he lets slip at the end. He goes, by the way, I discovered, happenstancely. I'm just doing so good, and I made up happenstancely. By way of happenstance. That's a crazy one. By way of happenstance, he discovers that Stephen Greer is using the CE-5 app. It uses binaural beats, but it's tuned to the exact frequency that he organically discovered. And then, of course, if you look into people that are using CE-5, it's a gang of different experiences. It's not just calling in these orbs on the horizon and go, look, there they are. It's Bigfoot. It's all kinds of things. And so I find that to be pretty
I had
interesting.
some friends say Stephen Greer's confirmed Mossad agent. I don't know if that's true.
Stephen Greer looks like, we're talking about genetic manipulation where you're taking like some sort of hominid and somebody shaved down a gorilla and they put it in a button up, an ill-fitting button up, and then they trained it to talk about UFOs, because that guy is, you want to talk about hideous visage. The real estate on his upper lip is vast and expansive, is so large. It feels like you can fit multitudes of mustaches on his upper lip, like not just one mustache, like you could stack them on top of it. He's a horrifying looking dude, and I don't trust him at all. I think, yeah, whether or not he's confirmed Mossad agent, which is, look at him, there he goes. He had
oh my God, you covered so
All right, we can unpack it.
We're gonna get, because
I can't watch that video. It's so crazy.
I don't know. I mean, look, anybody in my opinion,
not
who's
human. He's not human.
Not human. And if he's at the forefront of
confirmed cloaca.
Yeah. Confirmed cloaca. If he's at the forefront of like alien disclosure that the government is allowing him to partake in, I don't believe him at all. But isn't it interesting though that those binaural beats show themselves again in his app of all places?
I wonder if anyone has done both the Dysonian glasses and binaural beats at the same time.
Whoa.
I don't know. I feel like you guys are a couple of pioneers. We can put you in a casket at the next Bohemian Grove.
I've got my own.
Okay, there you go. A couple.
You have your own casket?
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah,
it's part of the initiation ritual of the obscene rite.
Right.
No, not everybody does.
I mean, what I will say is most people rent them. Not many own them. That's just, you're just here bragging about how much money you make. That's all you're doing.
This is actually funny and should happen. Nate needs to sneak into Bohemian Grove. Grove would be funny to like you running, because there's like just trees in the back. You running through with like a selfie cam and just running through and like sneaking into the back and seeing what we're doing there.
I absolutely would.
Let me ask you, Nate, did you after, having telepathic communications with Bigfoot, and he warns you off because the heir to his Bigfoot throne and his queen are over the hill, did you have any, did he just go, oh, I'm going to leave and then clean cut, or did anything else linger afterwards?
Buddy, we make sure to make clean cuts after every single investigation that we ever have. Like for a minute, dude, we were literally the like Ghostbusters. People were asking us to go and like investigate haunted locations for them. They were asking us to like investigate their homes, their businesses, because they were having like entities that were like showing up, and then they would go over there, the entity was gone, like spoons were getting knocked over, poltergeist activity. At the end of every single investigation we do, Thomas laughs at me, but I make an intention, like, you cannot follow us. We are ending the communication. You cannot come with us. There's no more further, communication. And then I say, in Jesus' name, and I'm good. I wash my hands of it. I don't allow interactions afterward. I'm there with an intention to interact for a short period of time, and then you.
And it's all been successful in that way?
Very successful.
Interesting.
You bring guns on these expeditions?
Do I bring what, Thomas?
Guns on these expeditions?
But on the Bigfoot expeditions that we've had, I always have a gun on my hip, but that's more for like a mountain lion or something, or a bear. I have to psychically tell Bigfoot, because I've had communications with people that have had multiple experiences with Bigfoot. If you have a gun on your hip and you're there with the intention to shoot him, he will not make himself known to you. He won't let you see him.
Interesting. Thomas, how come you're not going on these excursions?
He's on the other side of the country.
Well, I know that, but that's not
I'm hunting them in the cities. I think we need one person in the rural outback and one person in the cities to keep our eyes open on both places.
Both fronts. I see what you're doing. It's a two-pronged attack, and I appreciate that sort of tactical prowess coming from you guys.
Meat Cavern, we are doing one in August, actually. August or September. Meat Cavern is up in Washington, and there is a very haunted location that we are going to, and Meat Cavern's actually going to come hang out with us, and he's going to go ghost hunting with us.
You know what's interesting? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. So I had a dream, and
God, hold on.
So wait, no, hold on. In this dream, I was somewhere. I was somewhere. I was in like a big sort of a sprawling like a mansion. It was like an old mansion, and I was a guest at someone's house, and I was retiring to my quarters. And when I was up there in the room, I had walked up a staircase and went into the room. And when I was in the room, I realized that I had up and I was somewhere that had something to do with alien greys. And I remember like Googling something and finding images of like greys and such on my phone. And I was like, we've made a mistake. And then I remember being like, piecing together the behavior of the homeowners and realizing like I had been lured into a thing. And so, but I had my gun, which I was very happy about. I remember pulling out my gun and going, yes, like I was really pumped about that. And then I remember praying to Jesus and something about the blood of Christ protecting, me and whoever else I was with. I just hope that we're not going to walk into something strange at Moon Lake. But good news is I'll bring my gun. And so we should be.
That's a huge anomaly, by the way. Most people never see a cell phone or technology in their dreams.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It's a pretty common phenomenon where a lot of people report, like even lucid dreamers tend to not see computers or cell phones. And the ones that do, you can actually leverage. I don't know if you know Abby, who does the Secret Society of Good Guys with us on Friday nights too.
Yeah, you're talking about Buff
taking
Abby?
lucid dreams, and she talks about an abstract one, and she also talks about dream hacking, and part of dream hacking is getting access to technology like a computer or a phone in a dream, because that means that you've got an up on like the dream world.
That's fascinating. What I will say is, because my phone is just like, it's black, right? And then there's a screen here. I do remember, I remember an illuminated rectangle, but I don't remember the edges of my phone. I just remember the data that I was looking at in an illuminated screen sort of a way, which, I'm calling a phone because dreams are weird. I also remember that my gun was like a little bit different. It was not my Glock, it was something a little bit fancier. And that could just be wishful thinking because the Glocks are just the Legos they look so plain. But yeah, definitely had, I definitely Googled some and was like, oh no. And what I was seeing was alien bodies. Like, sometimes you see this supposed body of a alien recovered from a crashed site, like that kind of a thing is what I was looking at. Somehow drew a correlation to where I was and then realized that I was in trouble. And then I also remember that the homeowner was in the bathroom across the hall and that I was laid on the ground looking under the bed and aiming down the hall at them, which was interesting.
He was in my house.
No, it was an old, I'll know it if we go to Moon Lake and they put us up in this place and I go, Top, I got bad news. This is not good. But we're going to have to shoot
this
these
already
people.
happened.
This has already happened. I've already seen how this goes, but good news, I've got my gun. That'll be how that goes.
Oh, by the way, happy UFO Day, guys. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, today's national, right? Am I wrong?
It? I don't think that's true.
Today is UFO Day. Hold on.
Yeah, please bring that up. But I do have this thing here. Ever wondered about the connection between CE-5 and Bigfoot? Join us on Bigfoot Society. So I guess there's a YouTube channel called Bigfoot Society.
Donut said it an hour ago.
Oh, did he? All right. Well, if Donut said it, I believe it.
It's National UFO Day. Something strange is happening today. You can feel
that's interesting. What did it say? 33 what?
Oh, just another strange thing with new numbers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a UFO. I don't know what that means. I don't know if we're supposed to be like looking out for stuff. Like, why is this? Is a holiday? Did you get the day off? I didn't get the notification.
I don't know. But there is this video here from Bigfoot Society. Seems to be a big page on YouTube. They had a guest named Christopher who, I guess he's in Canada doing a little bit of CE-5 and also Bigfoot, but that could be unrelated just because Canada is so vast in its forest expanse that those two things could just happen. You could be doing CE-5. You could also see Bigfoot up in Canada. And then
I wonder if we could rig our Rife coils to do binaural beats, because all a binaural beat is just playing 400 hertz in one speaker and 404 hertz in the other speaker, and that 4 hertz delta, that's the binaural beat that you're tricking your brain into perceiving a 4 hertz tone, which is otherwise inaudible. So it seems that you could do the exact same thing with a Rife coil.
That's interesting. I wonder if I have to look at the app and see if there's a Bigfoot section of the frequency.
Well, it would be the Bigfoot section, but yeah, you would just hook each Rife coil up individually to a different app and play 2 different frequencies through them.
You'd find it under the fallen. It's actually Fallen Angels. That's where it's under.
You need two amplifiers, like 2 of those Bluetooth amplifiers. This is not medical advice. I would say don't do that. But if
I'm gonna do it.
Oh God.
Let us know how it goes. I don't advocate for that. Just because I don't think that Bigfoot would be a big fan of you calling him in and then like not having. You better have a thing for him to do, like a reason that you called him. And I tell you the truth, it all escapes me. Do the thing with the tuning fork penis quickly. I just wanted to see it happen.
What were you gonna do if he did come in? Like, what did you want from Bigfoot?
Yeah, that's a good question, Nate. What the were you gonna do? Looking around for Bigfoot for why?
Dude, we're just trying to find him. Now, if I've said this a couple times actually, like if I find Bigfoot, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
No goddamn idea, dude. I'm probably gonna shit my pants.
Put a couple of in his. No?
No, dude, not at all. No, I'm gonna sit there. I'm gonna try to communicate with him. It's gonna get like. I missed that.
Yeah, he said put a couple on his. It just strikes me that Bigfoot doesn't. He's not unaware that people are looking for him. You know what I mean? Like it seems to be an effort. He's making a real effort to be not found, and so it seems like it could be a bad idea if you find him.
Yeah, so it's either accidental or actually back to our spreadsheet there's numerous attempts of actually female Bigfoots to mate with males. They come in, but
cool.
That is kind of cool. So, I mean, maybe we could get lucky. The Patterson Gimlin film was with a sweet, big old, like, thick female Bigfoot
Well,
there.
plus
But
the other historical female Bigfoot, which I think we bring up every time, but the Harry Mary aspect and that angle of Bigfoot is that Bigfoot could be the likeness of an ascended master, and in that case, you can only see an ascended master if you yourself have some version of enlightenment. So there could be another barrier to entrance. It's not just playing binaural beats and going out into the middle of the woods. You also have to be of pure mind and heart, or whatever the requirements are in order to see an ascended master. And there was another saint that Nate had brought up. What is it? Saint Euphius?
Saint
or-
Onufrius, yes.
Saint
And in
Onufrius.
fact, can I... how do I even share
You
an
know what's
image? Or
funny?
can I
I just
send
tried.
you an image?
I typed in Harry Mary Bigfoot, and it literally the very first result is Reality Czars. And
We're owning
by
it,
the
man.
way, great
yeah,
artwork. Beautiful long-haired blonde Bigfoot. Making sweet love to a human woman.
Yeah,
good
you
job,
could share
guys.
your screen there. You press present, and it'll pull up whatever you got.
All right, I'll try to do this so it doesn't. My computer sucks a bag of, and if I do this, then I'll get lag like a son of a. But that is okay. Let me see if I can. I think I just sent an image there.
And this is Saint
Did
Onufrius,
that work?
right?
This is Saint Onufrius. Yeah. Is it taking forever to load? What is it doing?
Yeah, it's taking...
That might just be Top's internet, because even though he lives 10 minutes away from me, he has ass internet. Is how you would describe it.
Well, I have the Wikipedia here pulled up. Let me see if I could pull this.
It might be
up.
my ass internet too.
Is it this this guy?
Ass internet boys.
That's the guy.
Okay, so what's up with this guy?
Let's see here.
Yeah, he looks specifically
So he is
non Bigfooted.
Oh, he's Bigfooted. Let's see here. Oh, dude, I'm trying to do too many things at once, and I think my internet is up.
Well, you can see
you guys
that.
hear
We
me?
have it pulled up on the screen.
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have it
good.
pulled up on the screen here. This guy with a long beard and a stick. There's a dove over his head, it seems.
Yeah, let me
And
read you a little bit
be a
about Saint
woodknocker.
Onufrius. So let me get into some Saint Onufrius here. So Saint Onufrius, wrong one here. There we go. So Saint Onufrius is, here you go here, and I have a dope image. Let me see if I can send it to you, Thomas. And your internet's better than mine, and it should help. Oh god damn it! I can do it here. Okay, so anyways, Saint Onufrius, he is let me see here, let's get into him. He was a monk, monastery, celibate, deep solitude in communication with God. He went and lived in the desert. He's considered a desert hermit. He has his hair was depicted as red and dark brown until it turned white. He has a connection with the palm tree in a spring, and then his hair. I'm gonna send you the picture, Thomas, because 10 seconds. That one right there. This is the perfect one. All right, Thomas, I sent it to you on Instagram, and I'll get back to this. So his interpretation was, so it's an echo older desert entity. He is like, so it's called back to wild man archetypes like Enkidu, and he is the sacred wild man. And so they get into Saint Onufrius. Let's see
Look at
here.
that. He's a hairy man.
He's a hairy man, dude. Yeah. So brown, dark brown, red hair. Eventually turned gray and white. He was his temperament. Okay, here we go. He had ESP. So holographies imply divine insight, miraculous knowledge. Let's see here. He was considered. Oh, he vanished upon his death. He returned to the earth as dust. He was considered the wild man of God and a Christian archetype. And so we go into a lot of these venerated saints. And let's see here. That were also kind of let's see here. Desert dwelling. Iconography emphasizes his long, sexy hair.
It's interesting. It's like John the Baptist. A lot of these guys would wear that woolly cloth, the uncomfortable cloth, and be like wild
what is
men
that
in the
called?
desert.
There was
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it's just
Yeah,
it's
but it
like
was basically
camel.
like, yeah, like it sucked. It was like a form of almost self-torture.
Yeah, and it doesn't really make sense why they'd wear it other than to torture themselves. But what if they're emulating something like this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was calling. So what the research I did was saying that he and actually it mentioned John the Baptist as well, and this was a connection to Enkidu and wearing the hair, or having the hair. So that maybe was a callback to that.
Interesting. Yeah, sackcloth. Shout out to
Yeah.
G-Buy. Sackcloth was one of the ones that, and it was like it was described as like incredibly uncomfortable. Huh. Very strange. There's a lot of weird things with a lot of the saints. Like we were talking earlier about Saint Christopher, which, you know, it's this idea that he was depicted as a dog-headed saint, and then this was supposed to be just like some sort of colorful metaphor for some I don't know attribute, and that's how they described it, was like, oh, he was dog-headed. But there was a time where like all the depictions of him were as a dog, and then eventually he got the, you know, the head of a man in some of the depictions, and you're left wondering, like, is this something different? Is this actually a dude with a dog head? Is that what we're looking at here, or did they just really suck at conveying various personality traits about somebody without turning them into a creature?
There's another one too that I'll just send you a link to, where her name was Wilga Fortis, and very similar to the Harry Mary theories. This is another female that's been venerated in history that was claimed to have hair, like this red hair again, growing all over her body, or in some versions of this tale, again, like a cloak or a coat that she was wearing.
Oh, is that what's just in the private chat here?
Yeah, I posted on the private chat, and it's another iteration of these sort of ascended masters being depicted as like a Bigfoot style creature.
Wilga Fortis, female folk saint whose legend arose in the 14th century, and whose distinguishing feature is a large beard. Damn, dude. According to the legend, her life set in Portugal and Galicia. She was a teenage noblewoman who had been promised in marriage by her father to a Moorish king. Oh, that's interesting. The Moors. To thwart the unwanted wedding, she had taken a vow of virginity and prayed that she would be made repulsive. In answer to her prayers, she sprouted a beard, which ended the engagement. In anger, Wilgefortis's father had her crucified. Damn, dude. So it's not enough that your daughter develops a beard. You're like, gonna nail you to this wood.
Well, it's a good thing
crazy.
she didn't do this in 2025, because the beard would not have been a deal killer.
No, it definitely wouldn't have. Honestly, yeah, they would just, I mean, besides the, you know, kind of love your own way situation we have, they would have just gotten her laser hair removal. There would have been no way. A king? Are you kidding me? A king could afford laser hair removal. This would never been a solution. Couldn't she have done something else? Like just, I don't know, really, really prayed that he didn't like her? That's a wild. Women are dramatic. You know,
I think it was a monkey paw situation, because that is what she asked for, and then God was like, "Here's your beard."
Careful what you wish for. Now you get a beard. That's
These
wild.
These stories are so bizarre. It's like I wonder what exactly happened here. You know, something happened, and we're getting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they. I understand the idea of stories getting passed down and playing a game of telephone and it becomes something different, but it always has its root, in my opinion, in an actual event. It's just like, what was the nature of that actual event? It seems like if she was crucified, you could probably have that on good authority that it happened, because I think that would have been a sort of a capital punishment thing that they would have kept records of. But to say she was crucified because she sprouted a magic beard, I wonder what really went down there. I don't know.
And dude, those Catholics are so based and crazy, dude. I'm surprised that there wasn't a relic created. They snipped off some of her beard hairs, and there's a little. I love it.
Yeah,
dude.
don't they still have? They have Mary's head, right?
They have some wild dude. And actually, speaking of some making this back about Bigfoot, Yetis. So some of the Buddhist monks there have a ton of bones and fur of Yetis.
Really?
It's
I wonder if we could
Yeah,
find
buddy.
images of that. Let's see, Buddhist, monk, Yeti fur. Let's see what we got. Buddhist monk Yeti fur. The Yeti scalp relic, often associated with Buddhist monasteries in Nepal, has been examined by scientists and found to be made from animal hide. Yeah, okay. Trust the
Yeah,
expert.
fuck you guys. Yeah.
Trust the experts. While the relic is not actual Yeti fur, I'm asking a demon to tell me the truth. It's still venerated as a sacred object in some monasteries and has been the subject of local legends and pilgrimages for some time. That's interesting. I don't believe you.
You're telling me
Buddhist
that's not
skull.
Mary's head either? You.
Well, that's an
No.
interesting thing. Is that actually supposed to be? So let's do skull of Mary Magdalene.
I mean,
Let's
yeah,
see.
weren't they keeping these things? Like, there's a lot of battle and crazy stuff going on for people's skulls. Like, they want to drink out of it
prophetic
and shit
heads,
like that.
yeah, like the prophesying head of John the Baptist and such. There's a history of that. Shout out to Juan, who just never answers our calls anymore. He talked about that. We did a whole we did a whole episode here. Let me see if I can share this screen here.
Yeah, the motif is just oracular head, and there's been a lot of oracular heads throughout history.
Top, can you pull this up on there? So
Let's
this
see.
is supposedly not this right here. We'll click on this one for the Wikipedia, and we'll see what it has to say. The
Oh,
relics of
God, they
Mary
mummified her
Magdalene.
head.
Yeah, I mean and then they put it in this gold noggin, which is pretty cool looking. Actually, if you here, I'll share this one. Can you see some of these images like
Yeah.
this one second
Is that
from the
a
left?
spider? Like, it looks like a spider.
No, it's encircled by angels. There's two angels in it, so you've got a set of
I see the head of a snake at this angle.
No, here, let's go to this one and we'll
This
share
thing
the
is
screen.
horrifying. Like, when they did this, did they go, good?
This is really scary, yeah. This is not so the relics of Mary Magdalene are
Yeah.
they're a set of human remains that purportedly belong to the Christian Saint Mary Magdalene.
Oh, Mary Magdalene. I thought you meant
Who is
Mother
Harry
Mary.
Mary?
Who is Harry
Who
Mary?
is Harry Mary?
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
Interesting.
Wait. So Harry Mary is a Bigfoot, but Mary Magdalene is also Harry Mary.
Yeah, so
Yes.
there's at least three Marys, biblically. Mary Magdalene specifically is the only one that is depicted as Harry Mary.
Interesting.
What the? What are you guys telling me right now?
She's Bigfoot.
The wife of Jesus was a Bigfoot. Also, Jesus was a Bigfoot. That's a longer conversation.
Unbelievable. Hour and a half.
There
just
is
to
Sasquatch Jesus, yes.
bury the lead. Most famous relic is a blackened skull displayed in a golden reliquary at the Basilica of Saint Maximum La Sante. I'm not going to do that. French people have.
I
Such
think we
stupid
found the
words.
location of the next Bohemian Grove.
In France. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that ultimately this would all end in
Harry
France.
Mary. I have it
Harry
pulled
Mary,
up.
baby.
Yeah, I got the Harry Mary over here. I've never heard of this. That's crazy.
There
What-
she
this
is with
is
the
one
red
of
hair,
many.
dude, and those big feet right there.
She's got a set of honkers on her. How many
How many
toes?
toes?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
counted them.
How
That's
many
gotta be
toes is a
sick.
great question. Yeah.
Yeah, Top and I went there immediately. Seems like a reasonable amount of toes. Seems like she's got a bit of a bunion going on. She might have wanted to get that looked at. Very uncomfortable.
What does the hair mean? Because like either she was hairy or they're showing the hairiness to represent godliness of some type.
I like? Well, even the angels are like, look at the hair.
yeah, like it's wonderful.
Well, there's a few main interpretations. One of them is that it represents perseverance in the desert. Another one is representative of kind of like the corona, the rays coming out of a sun. So like the hair represents those rays. And then another representation is just straight up Bigfoot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel
Well-
like when they were trying to figuratively say so, like think about the Sistine Chapel, right? And you have like man is kind of lazily reaching out to God, and God is extending his finger in an effort to make contact with man, and then man has his finger like kind of, and you could look at that and go, oh, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense, right? And then you look at that and you go, oh, that is a symbol of perseverance. And I go, can't understand that. Can't even begin to understand how the hair
Well,
I,
she
I
supposedly was a desert hermit, and so her dedication to God, and she went and was, so I guess maybe this is after Jesus left her and all the kids. I don't know. Anyway, so she's out in the middle of the desert, and this is part of God's, like a blessing upon her. So she was out in the desert, and her clothes literally rotted off, and God made her a covering of hair. And so
Oh,
that could be like a glory, that could be God's glory or the sun rays, and a connection of what God ultimately, like a blessing, he turned you into a Sasquatch.
well, that's very utilitarian, right? It's like you could be out in the desert, and if you had no clothes, and you notice the only part of your body that doesn't get sunburn is the part that your hair drapes over your shoulders, you might go like, God, Father, please do this to my whole body, because this is killing me. The sunburn is absolutely brutal, and the exposure and then God goes, okay, you're hairy now. Maybe.
So I know we got to wrap this up. I would just make a final call here for everybody that is on the fence about Bigfoot. Every
Oh, that
single
you're gonna call in
civilization.
Bigfoot, like, whoop.
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, the next time we do this, we could do some binaural beats. I'll take some shrooms. We'll make this happen. We'll get Bigfoot to come and hang out with us.
All
But
right.
maybe that's something in person we have to do in Utah. But
Moon Lake, shout out Moon Lake. We're gonna be there, I think, August 14th and 15th. I think, I don't know, something. We're gonna try.
But finally, I would just say every single civilization throughout history has had some incarnation of this wild man. So there's all over Europe. There's the Urin in China. This is like, there's ones in Mongolia. There's ones, the Solomon Island giants we didn't even talk about. There's
Yes,
absolute
yes.
giants. It all has this connection. Sometimes they have glowing eyes, sometimes they don't, but almost always they're covered in hair, and it happens to be red. They're of very large stature, and every single civilization has talked about it. So it's crazy to believe that they don't exist.
People
Now,
that
how
don't
do they
think it,
appear and
yeah.
disappear? I don't know. This is kind of a psychic thing. I do believe they can come here physically. Maybe you need your what kind of Mr. Dr.
Dystopian?
Pinkerton, his goggles. Maybe you need some of those to
Pinkerton.
yes. Because the human eye is so limited in our visage, what we can actually see as far as like frequency and things like that. But he's
I mean,
fucking
I
real,
I
dude.
would tack on to what Nate's saying too, though. Like, what is your metric of belief? Is it that it was reported biblically? Bigfoot's in that. Is it that there were government reports? Bigfoot's there too. What about military reports? Bigfoot's there too. So whatever your metric is for credibility and stories, there is at least one reporting of Bigfoot that probably falls within something that you would normally give credit to.
I will
China
say,
has been dumping money into looking for the urine since the 1970s. Like this
I'm looking at this picture of Harry Mary, and it's the same. Sorry, this one here. It's the same sort of thing, but I'm looking at the feet now. I'm a feet guy, and it's like again with this odd bunion, but there's 5, and then there's like this lump on the side. With this one,
Honestly, that the
2 toes,
consistency of
2
that
thumb
bunion,
toes.
it really suggests that she had a bunion. That woman was in pain.
I don't know, dude. It looks like there's like a hint at a 6 digit, because
And like
I
an
don't-
opposable toe almost.
yeah,
Mm,
there's something
monkey
going
feet.
on. Oh, I don't like this.
Well, I think at this point, if you don't believe in Bigfoot, I mean, like you said, the Chinese government is certainly got a vested interest in trying to find it. And there's no shortage of Bigfoot stories, like you said, all over the world, and they're biblical, they're governmental, they're all these different things. And it's gotten stranger and stranger over the time. I like to think that we're coming to a head, and that soon Bigfoot will reveal itself. Maybe if Esau was a Bigfoot and Esau did kill Nimrod, when Nimrod's spirit is inevitably put into the empty husk of the Antichrist, and then is then rejuvenated and begins to rule the world for a time, that the Esau's will return in order to help us do battle against the Antichrist. And so maybe we are coming to a place soon where Bigfoot will reveal himself and explain why he's been so distant, why he's not been hanging around.
You're making him
And,
sound like Jesus again.
Mhm.
oh, dude, what have I done here? Maybe there's something. Maybe there's something more to Bigfoot. I
New
like to think
t-shirt,
there's
Bigfoot.
something more to Bigfoot.
Bigfoot Jesus. I don't even think maybe it's not heretical. We don't know what he looked like. Maybe he was kind of hairy.
That's true.
It's weird. This is weird. It's weird. I don't like
We
it. Nate.
depict Jesus as very smooth, but I can't read, so I don't really know what they say about.
Hey, that was just Thomas. What was that family? That was just what's his name? That the pretty Jesus.
Caesar Borgia.
Oh,
Yeah, that
Caesar
was a
Borgia.
Borgia.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Borgia
apparently there's
version.
some bullshit
Real
there.
Jesus.
I don't
Real
know. I don't know
Jesus
what to
furry,
make
bro.
of it. I think the real truth is I don't know anything at all. And I hope you guys enjoy that aspect of the show. But guys, thank you once again for a wonderful Bigfoot conversation. Where can everybody find your work? And we'll start with Nate again.
Okay, so again, follow us on Reality Czars on our Rumble. We are officially kicked off of YouTube. I don't remember what we said or did, but probably something terrible, and we deserved it. So you can also, if you're an absolute nut like some of the folks in the chat, I recognize some of you guys. You guys are more than welcome to come and hang out with us. We just talked to James Corbett, Dr. Narcolonga. We were actually talking about some weird heretical Christian stuff. But if you want to get into, what was I saying? Anyways, join Schizo News Network Patreon if you're an absolute psychopath. If not, please stay away from it because I don't need that. Anyways, yeah, don't talk about it. But we love you guys. Thomas, you have all the big stuff. And doesbigfootexist.com is where we need folks to go because we are currently working on the spreadsheet that we are probably going to turn into something like super serious, and that's going to be added to the website at some point. We're going to have the Bigfoot website.
You're going to have to do another Bigfoot
is going to be
documentary.
there.
Maybe we'll work together because we have some ideas. I don't know if we should even reveal this now, but they're not necessarily just about Bigfoot, but we have ideas about this, and they'll coincide definitely. So maybe
I think there's something to be done here. We have to keep it under wraps, but we'll tell you guys.
Super secret.
And I still have that succubus story I got to share with you guys.
Well, by the way, I heard your story about your near car crash. Whose show were you on? Damn it.
Big shout out to Brad. Yeah, the Awakened
Brad
podcast.
of the Awakened podcast. I highly recommend people go and check out that episode because that was a really awesome story. And I want to say that was very cool. And I was gripped while I was listening to it. So go and check out Brad's podcast too, so you could hear that Nate's appearance on the Awakened podcast. All right, Thomas, what? Tell me some stuff.
Best way to watch Nate's podcast too is just fully gripped. Not only paranoidamerican.com has got a whole bunch. We just put out this Illuminati comic that me and Donut released back in December to Kickstarters only. It's finally available to everyone else. And that site that we were just showing, that Does Bigfoot Exist, that's another one of these chick track style pamphlets. So this one is going to break down everything we've been talking about. It's going to have a whole section on Harry Mary. It's going to have a section on every one of these different unique cultures that has a historical Bigfoot. And we've got visual depictions of a lot of them. And that's kind of what's important to me, is that a lot of these stories you'll read about the Midwest man-eaters or the Big Muddy Monster or the Mongolian Monster or the Whitehall Monster, all these different versions, but there's not a lot of visual references to all of these different things. So part of our goal here was to actually illustrate every single different Bigfoot that's ever been reported, including the Harry Marys, including the Nephilim style that were reported by Mormon preachers back in the 19th century. So this is a visual index and kind of like an encyclopedia of every different type of Bigfoot. And I don't think anything like this has been created yet.
Very cool. That you're gonna piss off a lot of people in the old school cryptozoology.
Good.
But you're doing this kind of thing is going to pull the conversation in a much more honest direction that I don't think a lot of people were willing to go, especially not the Bigfoot hunters of old, where you just go in the woods and you knock and you whoop and you talk about the sightings and the rock throwing. It's like
we're sick of seeing the petrified poop and footprints. We need something more.
Yeah, dude, you got to give us the juice.
You should consider making this waterproof and then advertising it to people as like a manual to take on your hike. This kind of thing,
It 100% is. At the very end of this pamphlet, it has all sorts of tips on exactly what to look for, like the different types of markings that are left on the trees. It even has some advisories on how to avoid men in black that might try and intercept you if you do encounter a Bigfoot. So it's trying to be the most holistic version of not just a field guide, but a how-to guide.
It's funny because it's like it borders on hilarious comedy, but then you look at Thomas and Thomas is like, I'm completely serious.
No, but seriously.
Seriously.
I would I don't think you can do it. I don't think like a 9mm will do anything to him. But if you had any hope, I just feel like spending the money and getting a couple of silver rounds would, why not? Why not? If you're going to go out to the
heart
woods,
gun. I think the heart attack gun is a nice backup too.
Ooh, but I hear that he has 2 hearts. So I don't know what that means if you need 2 guns.
The Jew has 2 souls. This is different. It's a little bit different.
The Bigfoot has 2 hearts. Somebody lobotomized one after they killed a teenager and found that it had 2 hearts and 2 voice boxes.
Dude, you need extra heart to pump all the blood down to that fat.
That 2-prong, baby, yeah, 100%. All right, good guy.
His own heart.
That's one heart for my. Top, bring us the out of here, dude.
Dude, thanks again for being on, and we will catch you next time, tomorrow probably. Don't forget to obey, submit, and comply. Goodbye.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see. You can't. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.